Hello, I'm Simina, and today we are looking at one of my favorite subreddits, UrbanHell. And UrbanHell sub is a photography subreddit of all the hideous places human beings build or inhabit. So let's take a look. I think I've already seen most of the top all-time posts, so let's go maybe to the top this year. So the highest upvoted post, the horrendous state of New York City in the 70s, 80s. That's interesting. I honestly don't know much about US history or anything. Like, if there's a reason for why New York looked like this. The trams look really bad, like subway. Yeah, I think it's a subway. So fire there. A lot of trash on the road, a lot of kind of like decay. That's interesting. It's not definitely not what I think of when I think of New York, but honestly, I feel like in the 70s, 80s, you could find many places in many cities that did look like this. Let's move on. Away out of urban hell, Poznan, Poland. So we have the 2022 and then 2025. Obviously, the 2025 is much better. Like, this is what you want to see in a city, right? You have nicer lanes for pedestrians, from the bus, and it's much greener. But the first picture is also not that bad. Like, that's already, I feel like, a pretty decent city to live in, right? There's still some trees there. The buildings are nice. It's clean. There's a tram stop there. So, like, I get why this is an upgrade, but the first image is not really, I wouldn't call it urban hell. Sports in the US. So this is the MetLife Stadium. Okay. It's probably because of the World Cup, right? The parking area is insane, and the stadium seems to be quite like on the outskirts of the city. I actually don't know which city this is. New Jersey. Okay. To be fair, I'm not very familiar with stadiums. I have been to one football game here in Austria where I live. I went to the stadium by a bus from the city center. It's very close. It's like, yeah, this one here. Um, so I think I basically took a bus from city center here that goes all the way there. And then you have the bus stop here, right? So it's like right in front of the stadium. And yeah, I did remember that I didn't see any parking. There seems to be some on the other side. It's okay, there's also some around here. I don't know if there's any underground parking. Anyway, this is obviously much smaller. Actually watched like for the qualifiers for the World Cup, we watched Austria versus Norway. It's kind of funny to think back to it now because after the World Cup, I think there's not one person that doesn't know who Haaland is. I can't remember him being there actually as my boyfriend, and he was like, yeah, he definitely played. And also, like, Norway got a pretty good beating. Austria won with 4-1. So as someone who doesn't know football, and that was my only experience with the Norway team, I thought, damn, they must kind of suck, you know? So it's kind of funny to think about. Like, but yeah, it's not the type of like game experience that I would like to have, and the parking is crazy. Like, if you park very far away, you still have a lot of walking to do, right? So Chicago 1989, another US post. It's yeah, I mean, it's very lit up. I also find the grid line city planning a bit odd, but besides the crazy light pollution happening here, I don't have much to add to this. I feel like I wouldn't want to judge if I can't actually see the layout of the buildings a bit better. Next post is also US, and this doesn't look like urban hell to me because I can't even tell like what the actual city is like what's the living experience there, right? To me, it looks just like pretty cool. It kind of looks like a cheap design or something. I don't really get why this is so high up. I wouldn't just say, oh, this is urban hell based on this image. 18 lanes between a city in its waterfront, Toronto, Canada. That's crazy. You have like 1, 2, 3, 4 roads, and I think this one is maybe a trail line. It does look great, but there are a lot of green spaces in between, so I don't completely hate it, let's say. Poland again with a before and after. This time I'm going a bit the wrong way though. I do notice that in the after, no, there's still cars are there. Yeah, so what was the vision here exactly? I'm confused. I predict this will be redone within the next 10 years. Hopefully, they should take example from Poznan. It's evolving just backwards. Yeah, I really don't know what they were going for. Moving on, Block 23, New Belgrade, Serbia. Yeah, this is not the best view to have when you wake up in the morning. It also these buildings are also extremely tall. I actually like the clothes being put up to dry because they at least add some color to this otherwise very gray, depressing image. Endless shanty houses in the harsh desert of Lima, Peru. I don't know what the state is here with like water, electricity. It's not looking very good. Also, just in general for me, anything that is in the desert, even if it's very built up and it has like a high standard of living, I've never been to a desert, so I can't imagine it. And I can't imagine that being the color palette of my entire day, you know? Maybe if I go to a desert area, also I'll change my mind. But now when I see any picture of settlements in the desert, it just, it's not for me. New York, 1982. Damn, we're getting a lot of US posts. Actually, when I go on these subreddits, I don't usually see that much US stuff. Yeah, I mean, the ground floor looks fairly clean. I think there's some trees in this area. The buildings, again, my European mind cannot comprehend just walking through such gigantic buildings. I've been to a couple of cities, to Tokyo and Shanghai and such, that have some big skyscrapers, but I haven't been in any area that looks like this. It's I mean, do people even live here? Is it mostly just they come here to work, right? The stadium again, American and European stadium with the same capacity. So I guess this is the American one. Interesting skyline in the back. The Barcelona one, right? I think it's pretty clear which one is like a nicer experience to travel to. Even have like some park areas very close to this one. I would generally just hate going to a place like this. They do have a lake, which is nice. This is also about the exact same thing. It's basically how you shouldn't walk to the MetLife Stadium. Is it illegal and dangerous to walk on the roadways surrounding the stadium? And this is again really crazy from a European perspective to think. I prefer walking to most places or going by bus or tram. I don't even drive. I just use the public transport for any place I want to go. Honestly, I didn't have any issues so far with that. I don't feel here like I can't go to this or that place because I don't have a car. I think the public transportation in Austria is really, really good and is very well connected. The Green Line Demarcation Zone, Beirut, Lebanon, 1982. Okay, actually don't know what the Green Line Demarcation Zone is, so maybe let's look it up. Separated the mainly Muslim factions in predominantly Muslim West Beirut from the predominantly Christian East Beirut controlled by the Lebanese Front. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe let's also look at some comments to get some more context on this. Looks post-apocalyptic. Yeah, it's pretty run down and you can see the vegetation kind of taking over. This is the area of the city that separated the largely Christian East Beirut from mostly Muslim West Beirut. It was a prime sniper zone that cars and people avoided. Oh, that's awful. It became a no man's land and nature eventually took over. Yeah. So this was an actual like sniper area. It sounds incredibly terrifying. I hope Beirut is doing much better these days. Okay, so I think I already saw this one at some point, it seems. And this is slum areas of Osaka City in Japan. As far as slums go, this really doesn't look that bad, especially for this subreddit. Of course, it does feel like maybe a less safe area to live in and not a very enjoyable experience, but it is clean. Yeah, I really don't want to do the glazing place in Japan thing, but As far as slums go, this is really not that bad. Stayed there once as a tourist because the hotel I booked was cheap. The neighborhood did look like that, and there were homeless people on the streets, but nothing I can't handle from someone in a third world country. Yeah, an ugly building drowning in poverty in Göttingen, Germany. So I already saw this one as well, and my first impression in this was like, this looks completely fine. Like, there's just like a bit of graffiti down here. But then you move to the next images and you're like, oh, because what's in the world is happening here? There's so much trash. I do not understand how you get to this point. I really hate it when there's trash on the ground. Like, why do people even do this? But then I guess some people are just like used to this, and I kind of get it because growing up in Romania, you do see sometimes some trash on the road. Like the areas I lived in were fairly clean, but occasionally like a bit more sketchy areas, or like sometimes I would see when on the train and you're just going through kind of like village field areas, you would see some trash tumbling down on the fields. And I actually didn't notice this as much until I lived a few years in Austria. Now when I go back home, I really see it much more, and it's bothering me much more. It looks horrible, it's bad for the environment, it's bad for your mental health, it's bad for everything. For me, I think one of the biggest reasons to classify something as urban hell is like just enormous amounts of trash. Shenzhen 1980 2025. Yeah, this is some crazy development. Is this urban hell, especially with the comparison? As far as I know, most of these places in China that you see has some crazy development were really poor in the 80s or so. So I do think it's pretty impressive. I've actually been to Shenzhen this year. I did a trip to several places in China, and Shenzhen was the most stressful one, mostly because of my own faults. We took the flight from Shanghai to there. In the morning, we went to this park area by the sea. One of the reasons I wanted to go to Shenzhen was because I'm interested in like new technology type things, and I know that that's one of the hubs for this. One of the really well-known things in Shenzhen is the drone delivery that is found in this park, but I could not for the love of me find it, and it was incredibly hot. It was the first time that I was in such a climate, and I expected it to maybe be a bit difficult on my body, but not that much. It was a very sunny day, and they had this like vendor machines with cool drinks, but it didn't work with our phones. So I just wanted to go back to the hotel for the day, and then just went out in the evening to a really nice area. I think it was called Nantou Village. That one was really nice. We did then go on a bridge over a highway where the traffic was extremely bad, but I did take a video there that I really liked, where you can see the motorcycles kind of going up and over the bridge. And then the next day we went to the beach outside of the city, and nobody was wearing a swimsuit or actually swimming in the water, which was a bit weird. We were chilling there, sipping on some coconut juice, and then we went on this walk on like a platform next to the sea. And when we reached the top, I got a message from the hotel being like, "How did you enjoy your stay at the hotel?" And I was very confused because why would you send this? We're still staying there, but no, I actually only booked it until that day and had the train to the next destination that day, but I thought it was the next day. And we basically had to run back in a frenzy with a taxi to the city again, to the hotel to get our stuff, and then to the train station, and we made it just in time. I think the most stressful experience I had traveling in China, there were a couple others. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see much of Shenzhen, but what I saw of it, I actually really liked. So I can't really hate on this one. My view from my hotel in Manila, Philippines. The view is depressing, like the color of the building is just, I don't really know why people build buildings that look like this, or why do you make just like gray stuff? It's not nice to look at. That being said, it does look fairly clean, and in this image we can't see what the ground level is like of the surroundings. So I want to give it the benefit of the doubt just from this picture alone. Mississippi Delta, poorest region in the US. Okay. Hmm. So there's a lot of like, oh, there's some donkey there, kitty. I'm not sure. Okay, so the houses are pretty run down. It does look like kind of a poor neighborhood just based on the houses. Well, this is mostly just the houses being in a very poor state. Mississippi, sorry. Which one is Mississippi actually? I think it's one of these two, but I'm not sure exactly. So I think maybe we're looking at what is the delta? So shouldn't it be on the coast? Okay, so I looked it up and it is this region. The only other delta I know is the one we have in Romania, and that one is like it finishes in the Black Sea. So I kind of assumed that deltas are always by the water. Mitsubishi cement plant, Kyushu, Japan. This looks awful. The cement plant is what I imagine a villain's home to be like. I can't imagine what it's like to live in this housing here with this view in the back. Baikonur, Kazakhstan. Okay, this is interesting. Is this supposed to be like some sort of exposition, like a monument? And otherwise, you have the typical communist blocks, and it's winter, so all the trees are a bit sad. I assume kids in this neighborhood would overwhelmingly study aerospace engineering. Maybe that's badass. Yeah, it does look kind of cool, honestly, and the surroundings don't look that bad either. Imagine your view out the window from home being a gigantic rocket. It's kind of cool, to be honest. R slash urban have fun. Coolest shit ever. Okay, people are really liking this. I kinda get it. The American dream. Yeah, actually, growing up, the American dream was like a really big thing. I think in Romania there were still a lot of people that like the US or would like to live there. Nowadays, I think people that want to live just go to other European countries. Dubai, the most absurd city. I don't really get the appeal. I don't know, maybe if you're going experiences is different. With so many cool places in the world, this is really like not on my top. I think the only fortunate part is that I really like to see some of the highest buildings, and then I saw some of them on my trip to China, right? And here we have the tallest. In this image, it also kind of looks like a villain's tower. Like if Doofenshmirtz was a real character, they would probably be living here. The fourth tallest building in the world, Mekaya. I've seen the Lego version in Denmark at Legoland. Had an area with the tallest buildings in the world. From this angle, it honestly doesn't look that bad. I've seen some different angles of the area surrounding it where I was a bit like, I don't know about this, but here it doesn't really look that bad, and the building in itself is really, really iconic. Living among volcanoes, Mexico City, and the Valley of Mexico, that's just cool. Come on. Hey, look at this. Oh my god. What a view. I think it's kind of idyllic to have this view of the mountains from where you live, like just look at the window and see the beautiful Alps or something. I would also honestly put this up there. It's absolutely stunning. If they're inactive, this would be pretty cool. Oh, good point. But they're not active, right? Inactive volcanoes are the coolest, but active volcanoes are the hottest. Right. Not gonna lie, the crater farm is pretty metal. That's the kind of shit I could do in cities, kind of. Yes, yeah. I also noticed, but I wasn't sure what is going on here. Is that like an actual farm? You gotta use the land you are given. Just look at this image. Yeah, I don't know what it's living like here, but at least the view is insane. Somewhere in post-Soviet Europe, what is happening here? They have these steels for just one apartment on top. How did they get permission to do this? So like they basically built another room instead of the balcony, right? Or what am I looking at? A photo central park during the Great Depression, year 1933. Crazy, crazy. I only know the Central Park from Gossip Girl. Yeah, that's where I get all of my New York knowledge from. But again, with like historical images, I feel like it's kind of to be expected, right? Anyway, that was the video for today. If you like this type of content, let me know and I will do more videos on this. There's a lot of interesting places on this subreddit and a couple of others. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye!